Ethan Cole, a single father in his mid-30s, wore a faded mechanic's jacket, his hands rough and scarred from years of repairing engines. Standing beside him was his 8-year-old daughter, Lila, holding his hand tightly as she clutched a small stuffed bunny. Ethan had worked at the airport for over a decade, fixing planes, checking engines, and making sure the rich could fly safely from one luxury destination to another. But today, something felt wrong. Terribly wrong. As he walked past the hangar, he heard the distinct whine of a jet engine warming up, but there was a sound beneath it. A metallic rattle, soft yet deadly, like a snake hiding in tall grass. He froze. His experience told him immediately that it wasn't right. His heart raced as he followed the noise, tracing it to Jet A9, a sleek private jet owned by billionaire Marcus Langdon, one of the most powerful men in the city. The plane was scheduled to take off in less than 20 minutes. Ethan rushed toward the aircraft stairs where Marcus was talking to his assistant. The billionaire was dressed in a perfect suit, laughing into his phone, surrounded by bodyguards. "Sir!" Ethan called out, panting slightly. "You can't take this jet. Something's wrong with the engine. It's not safe." Marcus turned, clearly irritated. "Who are you?" "Ethan Cole, maintenance technician," Ethan said quickly, his voice trembling but firm. "There's a loose component in the turbine housing. If it's what I think it is, the engine could overheat midair. It could explode." The billionaire smirked. "You're joking, right? My aircraft is serviced by the best. I don't take orders from janitors with wrenches." Lila tugged on her father's sleeve, whispering, "Daddy, please make him listen." Ethan's heart broke seeing her eyes filled with fear. He turned back to Marcus. "Sir, please. I'm not asking you to trust me, just give me 5 minutes to check. If I'm wrong, I'll take full responsibility." Marcus sighed, looking at his watch. "You people always overreact. I have a meeting in Geneva. I don't have time for fairy tales." The guard stepped forward to block Ethan, but Lila suddenly ran ahead, her small voice piercing through the noise of the engines. "Please, mister," she cried. "Don't get on that jet. My daddy never lies about machines. He saves people." The crowd went quiet. Even Marcus blinked, caught off guard by her desperation. For a moment, his cold facade cracked. Ethan gently picked up his daughter, whispering, "It's okay, baby." But his eyes stayed locked on Marcus. "You have a daughter too, don't you? If something happened to her, would you forgive yourself for not listening?" The billionaire froze. The mention of his daughter, who had passed away years ago, hit him like a lightning bolt. Slowly, his confident smirk faded. "Fine," he muttered. 5 minutes. "But if this is a stunt..." "It's not," Ethan interrupted. "Thank you." Ethan sprinted to the jet's underbelly, tools in hand. He opened a maintenance panel and froze. The line coupling on the fuel turbine was cracked, something so small it could have easily been missed. But if it gave out midair, the pressure would ignite the tank like a bomb. He shouted, "Cut the power! Shut down the system!" The crew scrambled. Within seconds, smoke hissed from the panel. A small spark popped and then, a loud boom shook the tarmac. The jet engine blew out a section of metal, fire streaking from its side. The crowd screamed and ducked. If Marcus had boarded that plane, he'd have been dead within minutes. When the smoke cleared, Marcus Langdon stood in stunned silence, staring at the wreck. His assistant trembled beside him. Ethan's arms were around Lila, shielding her from debris. Marcus walked slowly toward them, his face pale. You just saved my life." Ethan nodded, exhausted. "No, sir. She did." He looked at his daughter, smiling faintly. "She made you listen." The billionaire's eyes softened as he looked at the little girl clutching her bunny. "What's your name?" "Lila," she said quietly. "Well, Lila," Marcus said, kneeling down, "I owe you more than you'll ever know." Chapter 2, A New Flight. The next morning, the news exploded: single dad saves billionaire's life in airport explosion. The story went viral. Ethan and Lila became local heroes overnight. Reporters flooded the hangar, and TV crews wanted interviews. But Ethan avoided the spotlight. He wasn't looking for fame. All he wanted was to keep his daughter safe, give her a better future, and get through another day. Marcus Langdon, however, couldn't forget what happened. For years, he had lived behind walls of money and power, disconnected from the people around him. But that moment, a single dad risking everything to save him, reminded him of what he'd lost: humility, humanity, and heart. 2 days later, a black limousine stopped outside Ethan's modest apartment. Marcus stepped out, holding an envelope. "I came to thank you," he said. "And to offer you something." Ethan shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. Just keep your plane safe." Marcus smiled faintly. "You misunderstand. This isn't charity. It's an opportunity." He handed Ethan the envelope. Inside was a job offer: Chief Safety Engineer, Langdon Aviation, with a salary beyond anything Ethan could imagine, and full scholarship coverage for Lila's education. Ethan stared, speechless. "Why me?" "Because," Marcus said, "you're the kind of man who values life over luxury. I need people like you in my company and in my life." Tears welled up in Ethan's eyes as he looked at his daughter, who beamed with pride. "Daddy, you did it," she whispered. He knelt down, holding her close. "No, sweetheart. We did it." From that day forward, Ethan worked with Marcus's team to improve safety protocols across all their jets. His design saved countless lives. But beyond titles and success, the two men built a bond, not of business, but of gratitude and respect. A year later, Marcus invited Ethan and Lila to a new ceremony. On the stage, he introduced Ethan as "the man who taught me that real strength doesn't come from wealth, but from courage and love."